The next picture, slide 10, is a picture of a barge moving down the Mississippi River with corn and soybeans in it. I like to ask students, and if you got your, if you're by your computer, if you type it in, what do you think the number one export is in the United States? I'll go ahead and type it in. Let's see what you all come up with. And when I ask that question, I'm talking about in tonnage. Somebody said it's probably jobs, and who knows, maybe it is jobs. But I'm talking about just volume, just truckloads or boatloads. What do you all think is the number one export in the United States? Yeah, corn is one of the highest ones. That's what most people suspect. So anyway, it's not corn. A lot of people think it might be soybeans or wheat. It's actually topsoil. If you were to go to the mouth of the Mississippi River and scoop up a gallon of water, put it in a centrifuge, you can measure the suspended solids in that gallon. Then you multiply that times the millions of gallons of water that moves out of the mouth of the Mississippi River, and you end up with a truckload of topsoil every 3 to 10 seconds, depending on the time of year. If you look at the next slide, this is pretty startling. Just from 1997, they said the amount of topsoil that we lose in a year in the United States, just 1 year, is 1.9 billion tons of soil. And once again, it's, how do you compute that into something that makes sense? Well, they go on to explain that if you took a train car and loaded 1.9 billion tons into a train car, it would wrap around the globe 7 times. That's approximately 170,000 miles long. That's how long the train would be. That's 1 year just in the United States. That's how much topsoil we lose. That's our precious resource. That's the birthright of future generations. And we're losing it because of the way we do annual agriculture, which is turning the soil every year. Look at the next couple of pictures here. This is just 2 years ago. I was out for a walk with Macy early one morning. We had a 1-inch rainfall that night, but instead of it coming gently all night, it came quickly. It came in probably 45 minutes, a thunderstorm, came through real fast. And look at the next picture. This is just, half a mile down the road from us. And this happens all over the United States. Every time there's a big downpour, you have these washouts. The other situation you have is wind erosion. Slide number 13. When you turn the soil every year, you're exposing the soil not just to rain erosion or water erosion, but to wind erosion. There's a period of time when the soil is very vulnerable, and if it dries out and you don't get enough rain and the winds pick up, you'll start moving soil around. If you look at slide 14, here's a report from Cornell University, or an article from 2006. It said 2 inches of soil blew away from croplands in Kansas during the winter of 1995 and 1996. If you look at that picture, that black thing to the left, that's a Swiss Army knife laying on its back. And what you're seeing to the right of it is a plant. The big stalk on the top is the plant itself, and that's where the soil was. Those little fingerlings coming down, those are the roots of the plant that you're seeing there that are now exposed because 2 inches of topsoil have blown away. And that's just one winter. During the Dust Bowl years, we were losing an inch of topsoil every 8 years across the country. Today, we've got that down to we're losing an inch of topsoil every 25 years. The United States and Canada, the North American continent, since we opened up these soils with the plow, call it 200 to 400 years ago, depending on where on the continent you are, we have lost or consumed, if you will, half of the topsoil on the North American continent. There are a couple of great books written by one by Jared Diamond called Collapse, the other one Against the Grain by Richard Manning, and they document how the culture of annual agriculture and followed with animals, intensive grazing, have always consumed their topsoils. It's just a few cultures that have figured out a way to do annual agriculture and add or build topsoil at the same time. Most cultures have lost their topsoil. And when you lose your topsoil, you lose your culture. The Middle East and most of northern Africa were once very, very fertile areas, 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. I mean, this is supposedly the birthplace of the human experience, the Garden of Eden. But because of annual agriculture, those were basically turned to wastelands. So we are on the way there. The North American continent is on the way there. We got a couple hundred more years to go, but obviously we still have soil to work with. I'd rather work with the soil we have than start from sand or start from stone.